Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unlock Show. I'm your show host, Tracy Wilson, and today I've got backstage waiting to come on the screen with me in just a moment is the amazing Mark Stern. I'm going to let him in on he'll be on here in just a few minutes when I push a button and allow him to magically, he's like dancing in the background, magically appear on the screen. But let me just pull him in and I'm going to say g'day, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the amazing Mark Stern and why I have asked him to be on the show today. And we're going to be talking about this out-of-the-box strategy that is actually increasing the conversion rates, it's increasing the experience rates, it's increasing conversion rates, and a whole bunch of other things when it comes to doing both online and offline events. And if you have physical products, it can also help you there. So I want to bring Mark I'm going to bring him to the stage right now. So here we go. Boom. Let's bring Mark to the stage. Hey, Mark.
It's so good seeing you, Tracy.
Hey.
How's it
awesome
going?
to have you here. I know I kept him in the background just for a little bit longer because, this is out of the box and I want him to have a little bit of a Jack in the Box experience of him joining us on the screen right now. So there you go. I pulled the trigger and here he is. So let me tell you a little bit about Mark. Mark and I have known each other for about 3 or 4 years now, and we met in an online marketing program that he and I were both doing. And I have had some amazing conversations with Mark. He and I have done some stuff together. I've been in some of his summits, and he's just an all-round awesome guy that I wanted to have on the show because to me, he is somebody that lives his life unlocked, but he also is now helping people to live outside of the box, literally, with what he's doing now. So I'm going to get Mark to sort of tell us a little bit of a backstory about who he is and what he's about, because he, like I, came from a corporate background, which moving out of that sort of corporate space and then, thrusted into this entrepreneurial world is quite an adjustment. So I know Mark and I kind of, we resonated on that because our journeys were very, very similar in that respect. And over the last couple of years, I've seen Mark, the master of coming up with products. Like he can today we'll talk about something and tomorrow I'm seeing him online actually create it. That's kind of how fast this guy thinks. So where we've talked previously on the Unlock Show about the opportunities that exist in our marketplace today and the ability that each and every one of you have to actually take your knowledge, your skills and the information and the experiences that you have and turn them into something that you can help somebody in the world with and make some money and make an amazing experience for somebody is very, very real. And Mark is a testament to that. So I'm going to get him to share a little bit of his backstory, where he came from, and kind of the iterations of what's gone on over the last couple of years, Mark, and kind of where we've landed today. And when we can talk about sort of this whole out of the box strategy, which kind of wasn't really where you started out. And it's evolved into something that I think is pretty special. So I'll hand over to you and I'll let you tell everybody who you are, where you've come from and kind of why you're here today.
Yeah, I'm laughing right now because anytime you and I connect, it is always like clear your calendars because we have so much to catch up on. Tracy, it's so good seeing you. So hi, everyone. I'm Mark Stern. I live in Austin, Texas. So a little bit about me, born and raised in Alabama. I was the guy that for a lot of people and everyone in my bubble was just like me. We're talking the natural progression to happiness, to lead a fulfilled life. I felt like I was very much the poster child of that. So it's like going to high school, graduating, go to college, graduate college, get the dream job. After you have the dream job for a few years, you go back and get your master's degree. I got my MBA at Duke. And, you flash forward to 2012, I just graduated, got my MBA and was in a position that I had just joined a top 5, a really big consulting firm. And I was $165,000 in student loan debt. So you kind of look at the pathway you go in life and you're like, is this really, what a fulfilled life is like, being this much in student loan debt? And then by contract, when you work with like a big consulting firm or a big tech company, you sign over everything you produce in and outside the firm. So a lot of people talk about this idea of just start a side hustle. I was in a realm that I couldn't start a side hustle. So making the decision to become an entrepreneur and pursue the route that I've been on, it was a mindset, it was a rewiring, it was quite a profound journey in the way of just having to reimagine or rethink or rediscover, what it means to have a more fulfilled life.
Well, absolutely. And like you say, with being with a big firm that you were with, that IP and all of that knowledge and all of your creativity that I have come to understand you have in bounds, that all of that would have been owned by that company.
Mm-hmm.
And your ability to be able to, like you say, do a side hustle, it just wasn't there. So it was kind of like whoa, I've got to make this decision right now. Is this really what I want to do? And is this really what living an unlocked or a fulfilled life looks like for me? And obviously at that moment you were like, well, actually, no, it's not. So for you, it was like a complete sever of all ties, right? It was like, make the decision, something happened, that moment of, this isn't what I signed up to, this isn't what I want. Tell us about that.
Yeah, it's such a good question, Tracy, because it was, I love to say that I live for the moments in life where you experience something that you realize that nothing will ever be the same when you experience it. So for me, when I was in business school, I remember someone recommending Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week. That kind of opened up my mind about what was possible. But reading that book, like I didn't know anyone who was a digital nomad who was doing what Tim talked about in the book. So it was like a fun read. These mythical creatures that are digital nomads, they don't really exist. And then it wasn't until I was well deep in corporate America, and we're talking like consulting life. It's 4:45, you're in a cab to the airport every week flying to your client. It's a road warrior lifestyle. You're always living in hotels. You're never at home. It's just a very exhausting lifestyle that I did for 6 years straight, every week on a new plane. And I went to a conference. It was by Mind Valley. I don't know if you know Vishen Lakhiani and Mind Valley. Amazing company. Everyone needs to go follow them. But it was one of those times that if you've ever gone like the YouTube rabbit hole where you watch a recommended video and a recommended video, somehow I came across a video to this conference, and it was A-Fest. Which was kind of a mix. They described it of like Burning Man meets TED Talks, with just like in a beautiful exotic location. And something called me to go. No one in my world have ever experienced anything like that. I tried to get my friends to come with me so I didn't have to be the only one. And I ended up doing it myself. And when I arrived at that event, it was all digital nomads. It was all people that were in a whole realm that like, it was all the people that Tim Ferriss talked about living their life on their own terms. And it was such a high, but it was such a low experience, because when you come back after you've experienced something that was like outside your bubble, that bubble had shattered, and it kind of just woke me up in a way of this corporate America. Like, can I have a good life with corporate America? Yes, of course. But you never know, you are very much in corporate America limited by the constraints that they place upon you or your role. And that's it. It's hard to break out of that norm because it's a very corporate structure. Whereas as an entrepreneur, it's empowering to realize how much you are in control of the impact you can have.
Well, isn't it funny? Because, this whole topic, living out of the box strategy.
Oh.
I mean, you going from, living inside of a very confined, box where you were required to do certain things at certain times. And then now just living this life that is totally outside of the box. And it just so happens that the business that you have also helps people to do things out of the box. That this is really, what's really fascinating about all of this too, is that like, corporate America, boy, oh boy, if they'd seen that 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss on your desk, it would have been like, what the heck is this guy reading? Oh my God, that's going to like, he's seen the door. He's going to want to run as fast as he can to that. And then you realize that when you read that book, oh, these sound like mythical creatures. It's just this surely, the life I'm living right now, 4:45 in the morning till God knows what hour at night, hours and hours and hours on the road. How could this possibly even exist in the life that you were living? And then to go to a conference and then be like, actually, oh my God, these mythical creatures actually do exist. They are real people just like me. And I could be doing that too. And then all of a sudden that just, the floodgates are open, right? It's like no going back.
And it's interesting because like part of like what gets us there is when you're in your bubble, like it's called a bubble because everyone is just like you. So like when you have an experience like that, nobody in that bubble can relate to you anymore because they don't get it. They didn't have that experience. It's foreign to them. So it's just a very different conversation. At times, for me, it felt a little lonely simply because no one really understood what the experiences I was having. But that's like the risk of a bubble is there's a lot of comfort and security because it's predictable. But everyone is just like you. I grew up in Alabama. And all I knew in my life and those around me was Alabama. So when you break out of that norm, and then I went to college in DC, but when I go back home and people who've not left Alabama, it's just a very different conversation. It's a very different mindset, very different experience.
And hence, I'm a very big advocate of people experiencing different things, opening your eyes up, opening your networks up, because then as soon as you start to see and you experience something that's a little bit outside of the bubble gets burst, and all of a sudden you're then, your sphere of influence and your sphere of opportunity just blows up. I mean, you and I, like you said, you and I could talk for hours and hours, and we do, about this sort of stuff because we've come from a very similar background in the sense that we were both in corporate. You were corporate America, I'm corporate New Zealand, corporate Australia, but the stories are the same. You get very familiar with the thing that you are surrounded by, and you are like-minded with those people. And as soon as you start to sort of put a toe out of that realm and like, all these other people, now your world just continues to grow, as does your mind, and the experiences and the income and everything else kind of just gravitates and flows with that. It's a fun place to be, and I don't know about you, but boy, I'm glad that I made the change. Nearly 10 years ago now.
Yeah, but it's so funny the path we are in, because like I've been so inspired by you and some of the things that you've done, because you do live with this mark of curiosity and mark of innovation, but it's unfearing. Like you will figure out how to do something, even if it's the craziest thing. Like the high ticket program that you put together, that was a tour of the United States, I thought was just brilliant and nuts at the same time. But that's to surround myself with people who see things differently. Like that's one of the greatest gifts that I could ever ask for.
Absolutely. And I've just got a few people that are joining the show today, and they're leaving comments. So guys, today when we get into it, Mark is going to uncover some really awesome stuff when it comes to how to create an exceptional experience for your customer. So I'm seeing Robert Stern saying, hey, great name, Mark.
It's a great name. Yes, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we'll have comments come through, but you guys, if you're watching or you are listening right now, even on the podcast, just make sure that you put either comments in here if you're watching live right now, or you're commenting on the podcast, and we will make sure that we get back to you, because there's some stuff that Mark, I know, is going to share that will blow your mind. So let's kind of go down the path now of this evolution. So there was this movement out of, that oh my God, my eyes were opened. I need to do something a little bit different. I'm going to test the water and kind of you're going to back yourself and give this a go. You found this tribe of people that you're vibing right with. Things are happening. And then you had an idea. And the idea, if I remember rightly, was like way back when you're starting out as an entrepreneur, you're figuring out your way, but you're like, oh, I've landed here. I think the place to go is virtual summits. So let's start with the whole virtual summit thing, because it's so ironic that a couple of years ago you started with that, and now they're like the thing, and you've evolved from that virtual summit into the stuff that you're doing now, which is even more futuristic and ever. It's kind of like a going back, back to the future type.
It is total back to the future
now, right?
100%. Yes, I love that you made that reference too. But it totally is. Yeah, you want me to jump on in?
Yeah, jump on in. Tell us about how that kind of evolved.
It's funny. So with the virtual events, part of why I started with a virtual summit, part of it was full transparency. It was selfish. I loved going to conferences. When I was in corporate America, I think I went to all the digital marketing conferences because that was it wasn't until I realized that I think that was my panacea, my medicine for the condition that I was in, which is I need to leave corporate America and become an entrepreneur. And I just milked it with going to all these conferences. That the first thing when I left, I was like, you know what I could do? I kept on discovering and seeing some things that people were hosting. This like virtual summits hadn't exploded the way that they are in this like post-COVID age. But what was really cool is it was an opportunity to really get a small MBA in being a digital marketer. I'd recommend anyone who's starting out do a virtual summit because it forces you to get really uncomfortable. I hadn't really put myself out there. So someone told me, a mentor told me, to find your voice, you need to do like 30 interviews. So I was like, I'm just going to do 30 interviews in one summit. I think we did 42 interviews that summit. And I quickly found my voice, which it really forced me to get into the role of the host, which is it's just a different skill. And I got to have that front row seat to get direct mentorship from all these other people that I had the chance to interview. But I think it was just a really powerful thing because it was product creation when you do a summit. It was networking and relationship building. So I can put myself, it was visibility. It was lead generation because the way a summit works is, that was I call it a legacy model when you do a more pre-recorded style because you're seeing more virtual live now. We can talk about that, but 2 different models for summits. But it was such a cool way out of the gate to get loud fast. And as a result, I think that set the tone because, I mean, one of the things is like you as a person, you as a brand, when you get online, it gets amplified. And like the one thing that and this is true for anyone, do not let go of your own values because people will see what's most important to you. For me, it was really important to serve and build relationships to that experience, but it forced me to do something to create this experience and learn how to be a digital marketer and get really uncomfortable. But it also introduced me in the value prop that I had to offer people in a really powerful way. So that's why I'm like, everyone needs to think about doing summits.
And I love that because one of the things, talking about finding your voice, and I mean, this is something that we've talked about quite a bit on the Unlock show. And now Vicky Helm and I have a program called the Influence and Authority Method. And it is absolutely about that. It's about finding your voice because once you can get into that rhythm and that routine of, I can speak about what I know about, it does elevate you. Interestingly enough, when you were doing those summits, like you did it, you were saying, well, I did it selfishly because I'd heard that I should find my voice. I should tell my story. I should be publishing. What the heck is the fastest route to getting me there? And your solution was, well, if I do an online summit, I can interview 30, 40, 50 people in a very condensed space of time, which will collapse my learning curve and speed up my influence and authority process. That's essentially what you did. And then from there, I was lucky enough to be part of one of the summits that you did. You got it. Woohoo! There you go. I know. I love my card. I got my own baseball card. That's pretty cool. So, being part of that summit, and like you say, when you are the interviewer, like I am now, you get to be, up close, personal. You're talking to people online like this, but then there's also a lot of conversation in business that goes on behind the scenes, which I think a lot of people don't really realize or understand. They often think it's only, me talking to the audience that's going to actually create, momentum and monetization for your business, but often it's actually not. It's a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes, right?
Man, the laughing and crying and everything that happened, it was powerful because even in that, and this is true for if you do a virtual event, if you launch a course, if you do anything, especially when you engage other people, I think that one of the most powerful things was before I even interviewed people, we had a pre-session to build the relationship. And that was just I wanted to know that this for Tracy and I, this is easy for us because we're friends. We've been friends for years. But when you are interviewing someone for the first time, especially a platform like this, you have to be conscious that it's not only about what's happening between the host and the interviewee, it's also the experience that you as a listener is going through. So for me, when you are comfortable on that platform and that's not your first engagement, it's a very different tone and it's a very different conversation. And I find it with me, especially if people can sense that we're already friends or we've already, have a connection, it's a more inviting conversation. And I think that was one of those key lessons that I learned, that it was almost like meeting up with friends again and hanging out again. It wasn't and I've had summits that I've been invited on that the first encounter was that first interview, and it's just kind of awkward. And as a listener, you feel it.
Yeah. Well, that's a great segue into this whole experiential piece, Mark, because as you were going through and, thrusted yourself into this entrepreneurial space, when, what the heck, I'm going to do something that's completely out of the box, or, out of my comfort zone, which is to do online summits, which is usually something that's quite advanced for a new online marketer, right? That's something you would do a little bit further down the track, but not Mark. He went straight for, what's the hardest thing I can do? Let's go grab an online summit and let's just kind of give that a crack. And you did it extremely well. But the evolution of that was then realizing this whole experiential side of things. And you've alluded to it a little in the sense that you realized that you needed to build a relationship with somebody, even just to get onto your summit, right? And to actually be interviewed. When did you then realize that actually this whole experience piece is not just there, it's everything?
It's okay. It's crazy, but it truly was about the time we did High Ticket Online. And part of it is, so High Ticket Online was a virtual summit that, this is kind of where like the power of emulating before you innovate is really powerful. Because if you saw the legacy model of virtual summits, people were interviewing 30 plus people. I saw summits that had 100 plus people. And for me, my key takeaway with that was it's too overwhelming. When you think about the participant experience, you put 30 interviews in front of them and then say you have a week to watch this. Is that the relationship you want to build? Is that the value you want to deliver? It's like 30 different point of views from 30 different influencers that are all over the place, offering a different perspective. It's too much like learning and not enough action. So what was really cool is, in the spirit of how do I create a little bit better of an experience, and this is starting to introduce the box element. Yeah. I was like, with High Ticket Online, we literally had 12 experts. That was it. 11 people plus myself. And the interviews were very intentional. And the people we selected were very intentional. And what was really cool was they all represented with high ticket sales. Part of the goal of that was to demonstrate like too many people were following the person that would say, oh, I just closed $250,000 in sales. But you got to realize it's like, they're not your business model. They may not be in your market. There's just too many factors. They may not be pushing the channels you have. They may be a lot further on their career. Just don't beat yourself up. So this was an opportunity to get 12 different profiles of how people are doing high ticket sales. And when you think about experience for a virtual event, 12 people to me is like, you can consume it, but it wasn't about just listening to the recordings. It wasn't about like, you got to buy these recordings. It was, what's the next step that I can serve you and get you to take action? So we complemented the digital experience to be not that overwhelming. I think we released 3 interviews a day. It was easy to consume. And then what we sold instead of a digital access pass was, this is the first time we introduced, and I'm holding up like the physical box. This was actually one of our first boxes, and you can see Tracy's picture. And it's so cool seeing this box, Tracy, simply because I look at like the faces. Eileen is doing some incredible things. You're doing incredible things. Fran was just on Shark Tank. Like, she just got a deal with Barbara Corcoran. Like, it's crazy to see that these connections through it. Like, the box provided this physical element that complemented the digital experience. And that's where, like, for me I think that it's all the crux of why do we do what we do. We want to serve, we want to impact other people. We want to best position ourselves as the trusted mentor to your students. And if you position yourself as a trusted mentor, like, I don't think people want to buy products and services from 20 to 30 different people. I think they want 2 or 3 trusted mentors that can deliver information in a way that gets them to take action and get results. So that was what it was that, like, most people are going to give you digital only. What's the problem with digital only? The way we connect with the world around us, we connect through our senses. So sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. Digital only products are what you see and what you hear. Your 2 senses. Everyone is competing for 2 senses. When we talk about Disney World, when we talk about going to a restaurant, it's such a powerful, going to a live event, it's such a powerful experience because it stimulates all the senses. It provides a better means for connection. So although I can't easily replicate going to Disney World, I can create a digital experience and complement it with a physical box and think about the story about how can I make it easier to remove those barriers for you to be successful? How can I make it easier for you to get action, take action, better engage with what's going on, better feel more connected. So this is why, like, we put with the high ticket online box, like we had materials for you to do self-assessments. We turned the key points from our influencer sessions into actionable cards that you had a workshop you can go through and easily model people who are more like you in terms of how they do high ticket. We had swag in there. And the reason I put a hat in there is because if you see me, you can even see the cartoon version of me and my dog. I always wear hats. So I wanted people to feel connected to me. So I will always put a hat in my boxes, because what ends up happening is people start wearing the hat because they just like, you're the trusted mentor, you're the trusted advisor. They are strongly relying on you and how you deliver information to feel better set up for, getting them out of that pain point or take that action to get their business to the next level. So that was one. And then Tracy, I think it was the accidental thing of this, which is what was happening, which was the amount of organic traffic we were getting by doing this. And with high ticket online, people started doing unboxing videos. They started taking pictures with the hats and the sunglasses. I put sunglasses in there because I usually have sunglasses around my neck in the summertime, not in the winter. But it was so amazing to see all this social proof that was happening, that people were just excited to be a part of the experience. But you can't get those unboxing videos. You can't get those other tangible elements with a digital only product. There was just so much buzz. And then the speakers started taking pictures with the box and with their card. Powerful, like authentic organic traffic that, like, it's such a different tone than you see with a lot of summits that are like, Tracy, you can come speak at my summit, but you have to send 3 solo emails out and post on Facebook twice. It's a very different place that comes from.
Yeah. I mean, that all happens, like you're saying, very organically without you having to ask. There's no pushiness, no salesy stuff involved in it. It's just like, oh, wow, I've got this box, and I've got a number of these boxes in my household. I'm looking at a few right now that I've purchased, and that people have taken that same approach to, building their materials and putting them inside of a box. In fact, the very first program I ever bought that was digital when I left my corporate world, I've still got today. So I don't know if I have the digital access to it, but I most certainly have got the box with all of the materials still in it. And I've got that, and I've probably had it for about 8 years. So I'm hoping that the guy that I got that box from is actually going to be on the show in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, it just speaks for itself. Like, I absolutely remember high ticket online. I absolutely remember the box that I got, which was the program that I did 8 years ago. Whereas with a lot of other programs that you do online, you'd probably completely forget about, because they're not there. They're not a constant reminder. And because they're in a nice box, you tend to keep them. So let's go down the path now of, like, we've talked about kind of the evolution, how this came about, why it's so important. So if you're somebody that you want to find your voice, you're wanting to find your voice, you absolutely need to do that. Publishing is the way to go. If you're wanting to create some sort of, whether it's an online program, does this also work for offline?
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah.
You need to have a business.
Yeah. It's the reality is, the way we look at it is, what's the customer life cycle? 3 stages. You acquire, so acquisition, you fulfill or deliver what they acquired them for, and then you want to retain. And the cool thing about that is offline, online businesses, it doesn't make a difference. Like, everyone has that same customer life cycle. So, like, here's the thing. A lot of people are thinking about boxes of just sticking swag in boxes. You're missing out on an opportunity if you're just putting a t-shirt and a water bottle in a box. If you're not thinking about connection, because the story of how to use boxes to acquire clients, to acquire JV partners, to acquire prospects. If you're in real estate and you reached out to me, I would totally send you a box to welcome you to the area, knowing that it's just like, think of it as paid traffic. It's just a different form of paid traffic. And to me, it's a great surprise and delight element when you do things like that, to get them back into the office or the conversation. Fulfillment, you have a course, you have a virtual event, you have a coaching program, you have an agency. Like, part of that process could be a welcome box, something that you send to people where you give them the tools they need to be successful. And then on the retention front, like, there's something that's really powerful about achievement or incentive boxes. If someone hits a certain milestone, You reward them, you recognize them, you send them something physical. You see ClickFunnels do this right now. They have a 2 Comma Club Award. How does the 2 Comma Club Award arrive? It arrives in a box. What do? People do unboxing videos. And how do you get an award? It's a retention strategy. They want you to stay engaged in their platform until you get $1 million, and then they're going to send it. It's brilliant. So this is kind of where just across the spectrum, and quite honestly, that's probably the biggest area, is that retention, surprise, and delight, just to say people, you're thinking of them, and recognition of certain milestones. Those incentive structures are really powerful ways to just keep people motivated.
So you mentioned earlier about this whole process of emulate and then innovate, and that's exactly like that story that you've just told about how this whole thing has evolved was exactly that. Like, I know, you saw an idea, you saw a concept, you knew that with an online summit, and then it was like, oh, hang on a minute, another company is doing these boxes. How can I now kind of meld this together? Now I'm emulating and I'm starting to innovate, and all of a sudden that whole innovation piece kind of grew some legs and turned itself into a complete and business that is extremely successful now. The other piece that I wanted to talk about, which is something that I think a lot of people miss. So what you want to be doing now is, when you're online like this and you're thinking about, okay, I'm on Tracy's Unlocked show, what are the things that I like about it? What are the things that maybe she, when you're thinking she could be doing that better? Those are all the things that will enable you to emulate and then innovate with what you're seeing, what you're hearing, what you're feeling. And if you think that you're dealing with a particular organization and something could be done better, that is your cue for A, emulation, and then B, innovation.
That's it. To me, it is one of those things that it's just asking yourself the question, like, how do I make this better? How do I make this easier? How do I get better results? Like, that's it. Like, for me, going from a 30 or 42 person summit down to a 12, and then swearing like I would never do another virtual summit with more than 12 people, 8 to 12 was like, that's innovation. It's simple. It doesn't have to be a complex idea. That's simple, but it's profound because it's how I want to serve my audience. And it's how I put the emphasis. A lot of people who do summits think of the summit as the thing. To me, the summit's just a vehicle. It's a means to go to a destination to ascend them up your value ladder. So let me make it easy for you to be successful. That's innovation. It's not complex. That innovation was doing less. And that was what's crazy about it. Literally, people, like, the things that if I told you like what we did to do a first summit, it was literally like exponentially harder every time you invited another speaker. So when we had 42 speakers, that means that's 42 speaker agreements we have to get signed. That's 42 interviews. That's 42 interviews that have to get edited and transcribed and repurposed. And it was just this overwhelming amount. So did it produce a lot of content? Yeah, but it almost produced too much. When I had 12, what was cool was I think I did all the interviews for High Ticket Online in like 2 or 3 days. Super easy. It wasn't stressful. And it was a great conversation, but it was a lot more intentional because the people that were selected, I made something that was a little bit more intimate. I made something that I wanted the speakers to be excited to be a part of it, or I hope you were excited to be a part of it. I had fun.
Excited.
But
I did the unboxing thing too. Like, whoa, cool, look at this. Check this out, Mark. I've got my box has arrived. So, all the things that you had intended to do actually happened, which leads me to the next thing. Often when we're, like you were talking about, if you're putting together a box and you're just putting a whole bunch of swag in there, you're probably doing it the wrong way. So there is a way of doing it where you're just going to throw all the stuff into a box, and then there's the intentional way. So I think that is a message that I'm hearing you talk about a lot, is around the intention of what it is that you are doing and how you go about that. So let's share with everybody, like, what's the intention of having the box, and why should they, when they are thinking through the process of, that sounds cool, because a lot of people would think, well, it'd be cool if I had that, and then not really give a lot of thought to the intention of it. Let's help people to understand what should be going in there, why it should be going in there, and what intention you should have when you're putting that together.
Yeah, it's a great question. So there's 2 different frameworks that are really helpful here. And I'd say the first one is, we use 3 words when we think about custom boxes, especially when you're talking about experience. It is activate, engage, monetize. And if you don't like the word monetize, use the word serve, because we interchange those words, monetize and serve. Why we say that is simply because When you monetize, monetization is also a form of service. A lot of us are doing what we want to do to build a bigger platform. We need more money to do it. When we build that bigger platform, we can serve more people. So the way that we start to think about that box experience is, how do we think about the story that will start to activate people? Activation is about, how do I stop you in your tracks and get your attention and get you to take a certain action? When we talk about engagement, now that we've shifted over, engagement is now thinking through the digital experience live. How can I provide the tools and resources that make it easy for me to be more successful with what is going on the screen? So how do I make it those quick wins? You don't want to overwhelm people. This is when people like have a year-long coaching program and they're like, I'm going to send you a box that has everything. I tell them no, because it's too much. You need to give them enough for that experience. And one of the things that we think through is the solution oftentimes is not just one box. It is a powerful thing to be able to send different milestone boxes, even from a gamification standpoint. So people always have that next thing they can conquer, what they have in front of them, get the result, and then do the next thing. So that's what's really profound about it. Monetizes, you want to think about the story and the journey that you've sent people on. This is kind of the whole strategy first. You want to be able to pre-frame what's next. So that seeding and that pre-framing with how you think about the box and that experience. This is kind of where, like, what will you do is when people ascend up your value ladder, that just means you get to serve them at a higher level. So this is like why it's really important to seed and show. Like, this is kind of why I tell people, one of the things you want to have in the box is what we call a take action item. A take action item is something that gets them to take action. They don't have to necessarily take action right away, but when you put like a piece in there that shows you your value ladder, like they may just be on the first rung of the value ladder, simply dropping that image of the value ladder plants a seed that there's so much more. And it's shocking that so many people don't provide transparency of their value ladder. And so people think that it's one and done. So those little actions where you can show there's a lot more of the journey, you don't have to do that hard sell. It's more about planting the seeds so people know there's a next step in the journey, and just knowing that there's a next step in the journey. If you get a lot of value with the step that you're on, Russell Brunson, I love this quote from him, but he would say, what are the reasons that people stop buying from you? It's two reasons. One is because you stop offering them that next step. You stop selling to them, so they just can't buy from you again. Two is because you piss them off. So let's just hope you're not going to do the latter and not piss people off. But like, you serve people, they're going to want more. And that's the thing that mentally, I think as entrepreneurs, we have to rewire is a lot of us feel bad about putting the offer out there, but just know the offer is not about you. The offer is about them, and it's their decision to buy. It's not your decision to make them buy. Your decision is to give the value to show that they're able to get results. You're there to help them get the outcome. So that's what's really powerful, is that if you can help alleviate their pain points, there are people who are standing here like this saying, take my money, and you're not giving them the opportunity to give you their money.
Yeah. And if you truly think about that from a perspective of, I want to serve, then it's our duty to actually do that. Because if you've got people standing there saying, you've given me all of this and now I need more help, and you don't provide that more help, are you truly doing the right thing? And I think often we get that a little bit mixed up in our entrepreneurial brains, that we think that, I don't want to be selling to them, and I don't want to be pushing my products onto people, but done in the right way, with the right intentions, with the right being able to help them move through the process and actually get a result, take action and get a result. Then they will be asking you, like you're saying, hey, take my money. I want to do the next thing. I need the next thing. So I think that's an important point too, for us to understand and realize there's a massive difference. And you mentioned earlier, like you made that differentiation. Some people don't want to use the word monetization, so you've swapped it out with serve, when in fact they go hand in hand.
100%. And the other thing I have to say, because you and I have both been on this journey, Tracy, is that like getting started as an entrepreneur, for those who are listening, like the idea of buying my first $2,000 course was it was uncomfortable, but something shifted. So sometimes that high ticket sale is not about the person selling. It's about you and the journey that you are on. Tracy and I have been part of $20,000+ coaching programs. Like, if you had told me a couple years ago that I was going to be joining a $20,000 coaching program, I would have said you were out of your mind. Like, why would I ever do that? And the reality was it was a big mindset thing. And for me, making those investments shifted my business in ways that like mentally, the mental game that you play, it's insane as an entrepreneur. So those types of things expand that bubble and put things in a very different perspective. So sometimes those big ticket sales, like it is your duty as an entrepreneur to be able to offer that, because it's about their growth journey too and helping them get to the next level. So it's not about putting more money in your pocket. More money is a good thing. You can get a louder platform and get the attention of more people. Just recognize that, like Tracy, I don't know if you remember the first time you bought a 10K or above program. It was tough, like mentally, but now like it's sad because I see that. And if I know that like that's the right mentor, the right program that's going to get me the result I need, I wouldn't think twice about dropping that money.
Yeah, because it's the return on investment that you get. And often we associate, how am I going to make that money back? When really, and that's what happens like in the early stages, right? When you're like, oh my God, like they're saying, if I was to drop 20K on a program, are you completely bonkers? And I remember going through those conversations and having that with my husband and saying, should we do this? It's a lot of money. I don't know. The conversations went on, and I probably did that for a couple of weeks, and then went away. And before long, I sort of progressed from, I think it was like, I'm going to spend $200 to, okay, now it's a few $100s. Oh, now it's a few thousand, and then it was tens of thousands. But I would not change I would not go back and not spend that money, because the person I am today compared to the person I was back then is night and day. I would not, like you, don't blink twice. So as far as like the whole custom box side of things is, once you've got your platform, your product, your service, whatever it is, let's have a look. I know you've got some boxes on your desk.
I was going to say, if you can see like this side of my room, it is just packed. So yeah, we have a lot of boxes. So one of our biggest style boxes that we have is what we call a transformation box. So I wanted to give the name transformation box because it's like, you're here. How do we give you the tools and resources to get you where you need to be? So it's the idea of the two avatars, who you are today and who you're going to be tomorrow. And so this is kind of like we can do boxes. And when we work with the boxes, like the size of the box is all about the strategy you're trying to achieve. So anytime we talk about boxes, it is, what is it that you're trying to achieve? You want to make sure that you're creating the story that is so intentional that the branding of the box and what's going on digitally tells one cohesive story. And it's being very intentional about thinking through the journey. So transformation boxes, like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a box size. I think this is what a lot of people think about with the box. But we have like one of our most common boxes that we're doing right now is what we're calling small box. And it's literally a smaller size box. There's so much you can do here, but why this is a really interesting strategic play is we were intentional about the size. It's big enough to fit on your bookshelf. We know what people are doing with these boxes. Like, we call it the Monopoly effect. Monopoly, like when you buy a Monopoly game, you don't take the pieces out of the board game and throw out the box. The box becomes that container that all of a sudden, and Tracy, you were talking about it with the program from 8 years ago. I mean, let's flash back to the 90s when all the ways to consume courses were through cassette tapes and CDs that people will listen to in their cars. My dad still has those get rich, box tapes. I think a lot of us may have the Tony Robbins sets. I have them in my bookshelf. But what's really cool about being intentional about something like this, it's smaller. What we do is it's great for putting a gamification tactics in there. But it's a very different story. It doesn't have to be a swag heavy, but it's an experience heavy box. And what's cool about this is what we're doing with our clients is a lot of them are not just releasing one. One may be just one quick milestone or quick win. We know that people put these on their bookshelves, so we're doing more and more and more. So all of a sudden, you're seeing that like clients are thinking about one box. They're thinking about several boxes of that size that can help at specific milestones. If you have a year-long program, if you have different expansion packs, I mean, there's just so much you can do with a smaller box, and it's not necessarily breaking the bank. They're really cost effective to do that smaller size. And you can still, like, we have clients that turn and sell those boxes for $1,000+ because the experience in that size is perfect. It can fit a t-shirt, it can fit a lot of items, but it's about thinking about the tools that people need to be successful. So big, small, it's the size needs to be dictated, not based on this is just a medium-sized box, let's fill it. It's strategy first. It's what are you trying to achieve? So transformation boxes are a big one. Swag boxes are safe. Swag boxes are easy. They're not my favorite, but there's a purpose for swag boxes because people love swag. You can never go wrong with swag. But our like what we love to do is think through that trend, like the connection of physical and digital. And I'll show you one quick one. I don't know if you want to see any more. I don't have to show you.
I'm just going to let everybody know, just for those of you that are listening to this on the podcast version, if you actually want to see what Mark is showing us, head on over to Metadime Digital, our channel on YouTube, and you'll actually be able to see this video, or go to Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life on Facebook and join our Facebook group, because you'll actually then be able to watch the video. So as we're walking through this, we'll just try and explain as best we can for our podcast listeners what we're actually looking at. So what Mark was showing us was a bigger box, sort of more something that would fit in an A size, an A size book, T-shirts and so on and so forth, and then a smaller size, which would be more like a, what do you call it, A5 sort of size.
I don't know these sizes, these crazy sizes that you have.
No, sorry, they're very Australian, aren't they? And I know you guys don't even work on that. So probably half of you guys had no idea what I was just talking about right then.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, like, that smaller one, think about, like, if you were doing a book launch, it's a great size that fits a little bit bigger than a book. So fold a piece of paper in half. So a lot of our clients, like, you don't need 8.5 by 11 size things of everything. Our most common workbooks that we do right now are, like, a lot of the print items are kind of that, take a piece of paper in half and fold it. And it's not about shrinking the size of the text. It's keeping the text the same size, like a 12 size font. It's just how you lay it out differently. It's still a full size page when you open it up. So it's just thinking a little bit differently about that layout. So thank you for doing that, calling that out, Tracy. Yeah, the only other box, and this is like where we're literally launching, I think we're like a week away from launching this site that's called Virtual Social Box. So the whole concept of a virtual social is we wanted to have a box that was like a Build-A-Bear where you can easily go on and customize your box. And for a lot of people, this is all you need. And essentially what it is, and what I'm holding up is a box. It's about 9 inches by 6 inches by 5 inches. And it's a fully branded box with your branding. On the inside, it's perfect to fit like a workbook. And it has a custom insert inside. But the whole point of this box is it features a wine glass, rocks glass, or coffee mug. And what we want people to do, and you can see there's a cavity in here at the bottom that we put some branded coasters with QR codes, and we'll talk about that in a second. But why I love this box so much is it's about bringing people together virtually. Let me do virtual coffee chats. Let me do virtual networking events, happy hours. There's so much. People can send these out as wedding invitations and do virtual engagement parties and virtual weddings as well. But the crux of why this exists is it was what was happening organically. When COVID started, I think we all felt so disconnected. How can we be intentional about creating experiences? You don't have to drink alcohol. You could be a coffee drinker. I have a client that uses the wine glass for a kombucha event with her community because it's like that's a big part of their ritual. But it's thinking about, can I be intentional with the experiences that we create? Let the box and the glass be the thing that unifies all of us and to bring us together. And if you put on your digital marketing hat, like this could be a very powerful free plus ship, buy the box and get invited to these monthly special events with influencers. And it's a great way to nurture people and make that sell when they're ready to take the next step a lot easier because they have a little bit more connection with you. We have people who are doing it in high ticket programs. So we have people who are using this with virtual events. Like the sky's the limit in terms of how to leverage it. But I think what makes it very unique is I think you started to allude to a little bit earlier. Tracy and I, on our last call, we nerded out about QR codes. QR codes are one of the ugliest things that you see out there. They are one of the most practical things. And if COVID did anything for us, it taught us how to use QR codes. Mm-hmm. So where like Tracy and I started nerding out was the power of dynamic QR codes. A dynamic QR code, there's two types of QR codes. Static, meaning once you build it, it cannot be changed. Dynamic means when you build a dynamic code, you can go and swap where that code goes to at any point in time. So we created a platform called Teleport QR, which the whole idea behind it is it's only dynamic QR codes. Mm-hmm. And you can pre-schedule out where the QR code goes down to the minute. So with Virtual Social Box, the coaster, we put the QR code on there so you can then send people to the Zoom link to join the virtual social. And let's just say I interviewed Tracy and Tracy made an offer at the end. I can tie it to my affiliate link at the end and say, hey, scan the same code and I will send you to the sales page. You could do a book club. If you're getting married, it could take you to a virtual RSVP site, and then later on to a virtual engagement party, and then later on to the registry, and later on to the virtual wedding. So it's just thinking a little bit more about sending people, making it easy for people to go where they want to go. But the applications of that, Tracy, did you do it in your book?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, so we've brought our absolutely
It's a powerful thing.
Those physical books to life.
That's it. And it turns exactly that. The cool thing about it is if you like putting that QR code in the book, Tracy just turned her book from a regular book to a living book. So now she can control a very different conversation. Like we were talking about things like putting a QR code on a water bottle. Like imagine being in the mindset space and you had a different daily affirmation, like same QR code. It's the difference between a water bottle and a water bottle that like you keep coming back to because it keeps giving new value. Like there's so much you can do, but this is like thinking through experience. And again, why we call it teleport QR is that you want to teleport people where they need to be when they need to be there. It's just a really, and again, old technology, QR codes have been out forever. In the spirit of innovation, again, these aren't complex concepts by any means. These are just like, who is it? Somebody, I read a quote somewhere, and this is one of my favorite quotes, and it was like how they define innovation. And they said, all innovation is coming up with a better process. Like it's not creating that next thing. And it's not like being an inventor and building something like the next iPhone. All innovation is if you can make a better process, that's innovation. It doesn't have to be it's usually simple and elegant. And that's like the cool thing, you know, one simple thing. Tracy adds a QR code that's dynamic to her book. Now she can control that conversation, and it's a whole different experience than you get with a standard book.
Well, thank you for bringing that up because, yes, I mean, I know you and I did nerd out on that whole conversation. Like we're putting these QR codes into our books now so that they're not just a, book that gets read once and put on a shelf. We want these books to become part of somebody's life and they are alive so that they continue to go back to them on a regular basis, and they use them as part of their process. They get embedded into their day. So we're using that strategy there is being used throughout all of the products that we're now bringing out, which is super cool. Hey, Mark, I know that you've got tons of stuff there, and because of the type of products that you've got, they're very visual. Where can people go to kind of find out more about the custom boxes? Because there will be a lot of people watching this today going, hey, those are really cool. I want to know more. I want to know how I can maybe, meld them into my business and my concepts. And secondly, how can they hang out with you more? Where do they go?
I was going to say, you're always welcome to ping me on Facebook. I love connecting with people all the time. But yeah, easiest places is go to customboxagency.com. That's where you'll be able to find information about our do-it-yourself to done-for-you options. And if you want to come hang out with me, we're doing some pretty exciting stuff that's revving up in the Custom Box Central Facebook group. So it's Custom Box Central Monetize Experience by Design. If you just type in Custom Box Central, you will be able to find it. But come join the Facebook group. Come hang out with us. We're just having fun. Which is like, beautiful. It's like I'm doing something right because I'm having a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, that's part of this whole journey, right? If you're passionate about it and you're enjoying what you're doing, then you must be doing something right, and you keep going. So, Custom Box Agency is the .com is where you need to go to find out more about the custom boxes and how they will be beneficial for your business and how you might be able to, and trust Mark's trusty team to help you pull your box together. I know that the conversation that Mark and I will have shortly will be about custom boxes for some of the stuff that we're doing. So I'm looking forward to continuing that conversation with him. But I think today, Mark, there have been so many really wonderful gems that you have very graciously given everybody, from coming up with your first concept and idea to understanding that it's about emulate. So if you don't know how to do something, just emulate someone first, then the innovation piece will come. It will be like a light bulb moment, and you will then get to innovate. And over time, I think a lot of people also think that they've got to come up with one idea and they get stuck with that. And, if I keep chopping and changing, that's going to confuse the market. But in your case, you've continuously done that until you have refined, until you've got like the amazing product and the amazing business that you've got right now. So I want to congratulate you for that. I want to say thank you very much for always being someone that I can just pick up the phone and we have a great entrepreneurial conversation with, and that for you to just continue to innovate and share your brilliance with the rest of the world. For the rest of you guys who are listening right now, you know that we'll be back again. What are we today? We are Wednesday today. I'll be back again with another episode of the Unlock Show on Friday, and we will talk more about how to find your voice, how to really start to stand out in the world of entrepreneurship and in business. And Mark's talking about the fact that you need to find your voice is just perfect for the topics of the Unlock Show for the next few months. So thank you for being here, Mark. I'm going to give you an opportunity to just summarize anything that you want to summarize, or tell anybody or tell the rest of the audience if there's anything else that you want to share right now.
Yeah, no, Tracy, you know I adore you. So thank you so much for having me. The only thing I would leave people with is that entrepreneurship, like it is more mindset than anything else. Don't overcomplicate the process. And what I tell a lot of people and a lot of my mentees is, this is not a game that you should play by yourself. And a lot of people try and create products in a vacuum because they think they need to lock themselves and build this course. At the end of the day, you got to realize that the product you create is only as good as the data points you have in your brain. So you're only limited by what you know. So the cool thing about interviewing Tracy is all of a sudden, not only do I get to build upon my data points, I get Tracy's data points too, and the next person's. So all of a sudden, this product creation, like we're creating content right now. There's so much that we could do with this one little interview. It just simplifies that process in a way that it doesn't have to all sit on your shoulders. And to be honest with you, like the cool thing about being a host or an interviewer is that you get to increase your own status and where you are by the people that you surround yourself with as well, and vice versa. It's a two-way thing. So this is why this game gets so much easier once you realize don't do it alone. Collaborate, reach out, build relations.
You betcha. Thank you so much for leaving everybody with that message, Mark. And if you don't want to do it on your own and you would much rather join a community, thank you, Mark. Perfect segue. I didn't even cue that up.
Love it.
Segue. So if you do want to become part of a community and you want some help in terms of building your influence and your authority and being able to do stuff like this, then head on over to influenceandauthority.com and come and check us out, because both Vicky and I will teach you exactly what you need to do to become the authority and the sought after expert in your market. So for that, Mark, thank you very much.
Thank you. Hello to Vicky. I see Vicky. I see you there. So thank you, guys.
Yeah, she's there too. Awesome. So thanks very much, guys. Thank you for joining the show today. Like I said, I'll be back again with another episode on Friday, 10 a.m. Brisbane, Australia time, for another episode of Unlocked. And like I always say, go and live your life unlocked.
Boom.
If you are not happy doing what you are doing right now, figure out how you can, what is it that is going to make you happy, and make the change. Do it today. Do not hold back. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again, you guys, soon. Bye for now. Let me go here because I have to. We're not finished yet because, look, I got to push this button. Boom. There we go.